gentlemen, good afternoon to everyone. It's really, really pleasure to have you here again. And so it seems to be regular global seminar on real estate modeling and AVMs. So really great that you are here and you are still coming. So it is registered at more than 100 participants from Europe, Africa, America, and Asia for 46 countries, and it covers academicians, scientists, business professionals, practitioners, and we are mainly involving in the real estate valuation, management, geodesy, cadastre, planning, policy. So quite varied society. Before I let the keynote speaker to present the presentation, I would like to welcome my great team. So first of all, Peter Ache, he's head of Commission 9 of FIG, International Federation of Surveyors. So Peter, great that we are here. Without him, it will not happen, this meeting. And Artur Janowski, he's here. And he is a professor at university that I am of Warmia and Mazur. He is a team member as well. And Thomas in both positions today. So he is a team member, really great, and keynote speaker. But Thomas is a very interesting man because he joined in one person to be great scientist and publish a lot of really great papers about AVMs, valuation, that was published in prestige journals. And he's a businessman and owner of the company. He's a valuer and a very active member of IVS. And today he will present the let's say, potential of application AI, artificial intelligence in on property markets. I'm sure that he will uncover artificial intelligence from mystery. He will show some potential, but probably and drawbacks as well compared to the traditional methods. And before we start, let me introduce a few organizational issues. So the presentation will cover more or less 40 minutes. Afterwards will be a few minutes for quick questions. And as you can see right now, everything is recorded. So if you would like to obtain this records or presentation, please write on the chat your email and request on that. But we have really not a lot of time for questions. But if you are still will be hungry, I have a great news for you. Because we just set up the date for our face-to-face meeting conference that will take place in amazing Cyprus, Paphos, that Thomas actually is working as a professor, as a teacher. And the date is, so please mark in the calendar, from 22nd to 23rd of May next year. But as Thomas said, to keep us warm, we will have a next online presentation on November. When we finalize the details, we will let you know and we will send the information. All right, now it's the time for insightful presentation. All lights on Thomas. So Thomas, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing. Yes, and then you can share your presentation. To have a better resolution, please switch off the camera and mute your microphone. So yes.
Okay, I guess everyone can see my screen, correct? Okay, so let me, perfect. So you can see my screen, correct?
Yes,
hello?
we can see, we can
Great,
see
great,
and
great.
hear you.
Okay, so I have to admit that I was involved with FIG some years ago. And then I was not very active, and Peter discovered me somewhere on LinkedIn and recruited me. And many nice things happened since then. And I'm really happy because FIG is a great organization, is connecting scientists, professionals. So it's like an amazing organization, and I feel very nice here. So let's do this nice discussion presentation today and some insights from a case study. Let's say a case study about an application of AVM in Cyprus regarding apartments of the capital of Cyprus, Nicosia. Who I am, I'm the head of the real estate department at Neapolis University Paphos. I'm also founder and managing partner of Axia Charter Surveyors. I'm also in another company, co-founder and director is a GIS company and software, AVM solutions, etc. Another company with building surveys, European board member of the International Valuation Standards Council. I was also involved with ICS for 6 years. Regarding my profile, you can find many information by clicking on the links after you get the presentation. So, what today's presentation is about? Okay, first to have like a good introduction, we're gonna see like the database. Okay, I'm not gonna go from the beginning, what is AVM, what is important, the data. I assume that most of the attendants are aware of those issues. So I'm going to show you the database we do use in Cyprus, which is a very interesting one. And then I'm gonna show you some applications of the database into AI algorithms, some other mathematical models, how I treated outliers, regression, some technical stuff, and then some conclusions regarding the presentation. Okay, so the scope of the presentation is for me like with all my experience on those issues, I feel like I want to highlight the importance of data on AVM modeling. And this is, I think, how Peter discovered me on LinkedIn after an article I published on Indian Association of Property Valuers, and was on LinkedIn. Peter sent me a message, a very interesting article. Anyway, I need to see with you about the importance of data in the databases and to demystify how complex models work. So are those models really complex? Not always, but okay. What are these actual models that they build an AVM model, and what are the limitations? And actually, those models can improve valuers' everyday work, or the empirical rules, like in this area, in this quarter, in this neighborhood, you can have like this euros, this dollars per square meter, is a more accurate approach rather than the complicated mathematical models. Can those models, if they are successfully implemented, can they replace the judgment of the individual valuer? And other ethical questions: is human intelligence in danger? Can it be replaced completely by machine intelligence? And other things that we'll discuss together: who will sign the outcome of an AVM? So the studied database. I'm gonna open the database. what do we have in Cyprus is a database like that. I assume everyone is familiar with Excel. So I'm going to spend 2 minutes. I know some things are in Greek, but doesn't matter. Just to show you, like, in our jurisdiction in Cyprus, okay, transaction data are not publicly available. However, we have access to those data, registered valuers, and registered estate agents. And agents were added like the last 2 years. So for the last 20 years, only valuers had access to those data. So at this column, this unique ID is that it connects this database with a GIS. So all those transaction attributes can be added to the GIS, to the geographic database. B is district, Nicosia in our case. C is like a town, okay, areas of Nicosia and municipalities. Quarter is numerical, so some municipalities are subdivided in smaller areas called quarters. In Cyprus and in Greece, there is another, like, let's say, division of municipalities, if they're big municipalities, by church. Okay, so every sub area is characterized by its church, and people who live in that area, they theoretically belong to that church. Then is the number of the district, quarter, the number of the quarter, number of blocks, registration number, columns I and K referring to the division of Cyprus in seats and plans. Then is the parcel number, the parcel area. Okay. Column N is the declared price. So these two are very, very critical, very critical columns, because for every transaction that is happening, it takes place in Cyprus, is being recorded from the Department of Land and Surveys. But the two involved parties, the buyer and the seller, are declaring, are suggesting a price. Okay, are suggesting a price. And the Department of Land and Surveys, they do an internal valuation, desktop valuation. So in many cases, you see like huge difference. Okay, they declare the property price a field like 5,000 euros, and the accepted was 12. Okay, and if I want to use only the apartments, so I'm going there in Greek, like, let's say, apartment, where is my in Greek? So we could see, like, in many cases, declared and accepted are the same. But in some cases, there is 10% difference. In some cases, it's like 12% difference. In some cases, okay, so not always the declared price is the same as accepted. So the accepted is the desktop valuation that the Department of Land and Surveys is doing, okay, based on data without internal inspection. So far we see like a very critical point on the creation of an AVM, like the value of the property, okay, is not accurate. So which of the two values is more accurate, the declared or the accepted? So do the two involved parties always declaring the real value at the Department of Land and Surveys? Nobody knows, okay, because they have like a common interest, because based on the transaction value, they have to pay taxes. The capital gain tax and transaction expenses and other are based on that value. So let's say both parties, okay, want to declare a lower price. Okay, it's complicated. Every market has its own complications, okay? In other markets, there could be like an official declared price and some money under the table. and since we still have money and we're not under a blockchain technology and money transaction, so it's still an issue that when there is cash, some transactions can be influenced. Anyhow, then we do have like other data regarding the contract that was being deposited, the sale acceptance date. Okay, and the database also includes enclosed area, so the internal area of the apartment, the covered veranda, and the uncovered veranda that every apartment has. And some other comments regarding maybe a pool, maybe some rights of additional parkings, and some other stuff. So we see that I understand, like in example, like in Greece, that I'm aware, and Tassos might, Tassos, I see also Tassos in the audience, can tell me if it's still valid. So there is no such a database regarding the transactions. So the valuers had to use only asking prices. In other jurisdictions in Balkans, it's the same issues. Like there are not everywhere a database with transactions. So the problem that we have with the Cyprus database and the transactions, we do have this, but we don't have like zero clue of the local market. We don't know, or sort of the local internal stage of repair of the apartment. Okay, so we have to guess. We don't know if the apartment is renovated, if it is renovated, if it is in bad condition, if it's furniture included, etc. So the problem in that case is unsolvable with the existing data set. Okay, so we have like a lot of limitations, and the machines, not machines, the algorithms and the statistics cannot predict accurately because of these inconsistencies in the existing database. But let's see things that were done with the existing database. Okay. So I'm explaining here out of all observation regarding apartments. This is like apartment or two-floor apartment. Okay, the database started with 4,261 observation and ended up only 3,561 data were used for analysis and description. So some additional data were added to the database regarding the density of the area, regarding the coverage, but some multicollinearity issues were observed. Okay, and so some others were removed. The database used here started, if I remember well, from 2017 on and onwards. However, we can see that with all those years, the market is changing. So an equivalent, so the same apartment could be sold 100,000 in 2017 and 140,000 in 2024. Okay, so we need to make adjustments to the data. So either time series analysis, which is really hard with the existing database, or transfer all data through some indices. Okay, in that case, the data were adjusted with the use of the Central Bank of Cyprus index for apartments. The next step is the parameters. The parameters used, like build years, condition, view. So Nicosia was chosen as an area where view was not very significant compared with other Cyprus cities where sea view is affecting the value a lot. The next step is, after the database was scrutinized and data were included, excluded, and everything, the next step was to see, to check the bibliography and see what AI algorithms could describe, let's say properly, could describe better the data set. A few models about AI algorithms. Okay, I see the audience, most of you are fully aware of what is going on, and you are not, there is no need to explain like what is AI and all those facts. But AI is not like something live. It's just statistics. Okay, it's just statistics. So is a way to express some probabilities and some possibilities, and discover patterns among the data set. It's not something really hard or really thing. It's like getting the data and identifying patterns among the data, and through those patterns we can predict what we need to do. Okay, and the first reference of AI, of course, I like this slide, I'm using it often, is like a robot Talos, giant robot made of bronze to protect Europe from pirates and invaders, like 4,000 years ago. Okay, an automated a machine who was doing the round of Crete 3 times per day. Okay, so the machine intelligence is intelligence demonstrated by machines. So as human beings, we have like some patterns, and we can predict, and we know that in this area the value is 1,000 euros per square meter, or is 5,000 euros per square meter, because our brain understands the patterns and express the patterns. So those patterns, if they expressed by machines, okay, we call it like machine intelligence or artificial intelligence, because it's not biological intelligence from a human being who has like these emotions and experience, etc. Okay, I would comment this slide when I reach the end. Regarding mathematical models, okay, everything is like input, process, and output. What we need in AVMs, what we need in real estate is not only input and output, okay, because as we'll see later on, we need input, okay, the database, understand the database, understand the reliability of the database, the problems of the database, and then after we process the database, we discover the patterns through, there are like millions of different ways to describe, to find patterns in the database. And then we have like the output, the prediction, but we need the error. We need the error. This is the most critical part of AVM, because we understand the accuracy of and this error interprets the results. Okay. Next step, the typical metrics probably started from IAAO, had Ras at the first presentation, amazing presentation, like some months ago. Metrics. IAAO recommends normally the coefficient of dispersion. Another very popular measurement is the mean average percentage error. We have like the R square, which is okay, good for statistics regression, but with AVMs does not working really good. Okay. So those metrics describe the error at the output, at the prediction of our model. So yes, I can trust evaluation, I can trust the prediction, I can trust an AVM who will give me like a value of 5,000 euros minus plus 10%. But on the other hand, I cannot trust an AVM who can give me a prediction 5,000 euros per square meter, plus or minus 2,000 euros. Okay, so we need this plus or minus error, which is described through those metrics. Why we need like this, and another very critical part of the databases and the study of the data is the outliers. Okay, in that case, on that specific one, we see like very normal, rational observations. But on the existing database, we found some really funny observations, like an apartment who was built like 99 and was sold for 61,000 euros, and it has internal areas of 40 square meters, covered verandas 9, and 425 uncovered veranda, which is like not possible. Okay, it's really weird. And some other like an apartment, 66 square meters with 6 square meters of covered veranda that was sold 3,000. So we need to find a way to clean the database, okay, and remove all the outliers in order not because they pollute our sample and they create a lot of noise. Okay. So after we process this database, after we create some parameters, we connect, we get data from GIS and everything, we can go and proceed and check like if all observations are presented. I did here adjusted accepted price in order to avoid the multicollinearity issue. A treatment that I normally do to my database here is like, for example, this is like the areas of every apartment. So I'm calling here, I'm created a database like adjusted area, and I'm using some weights. So the adjusted area is the enclosed, the internal area, plus 50% of the covered veranda, plus 20% of the uncovered veranda. Yes, I need to replace those. So this replace this with 0. Okay, so in that way, I'm creating the adjusted area. So I'm expressing, I created a new column because I don't need these separate parameters because of the multicollinearity, because like the biggest the apartment is, theoretically, the biggest the verandas could be. So in a different process, I identify the multicollinearity issues. I'm creating the adjusted area. Okay, and let's go back to the original presentation. So this is the adjusted accepted price from unit enclosed extent. So adjusted accepted price. So another adjustment in that case in the data process, and after 1,000 of different combinations, which is the value that should be used to describe better the apartments in Nicosia, the declared values or the accepted values. Okay, and I'm receiving okay, I'm playing with a database in order to find an optimum solution. So normally, after I remove the outliers, I give some weights. So I say like 70%, I'm creating an adjusted value, similar with the areas. And I'm saying like 70% of declared plus 30% of the accepted, something like a weighted average. Is that accurate? No. Can I know the truth? No. Who knows the real value of the transaction? Only the two involved parties, nobody else. So me and other valuers or other researchers, we need to make some adjustments, and we need to identify which adjustment will provide the better results at the end. All observations, linear regression, all apartments in the same graph, R square very low, 0.46. And observation with average percentage error less than 10%. So I took like declared and accepted less than 10%, and the R square of a linear regression 72%, much better. By separating areas, we see like Agios Vasilios is a quarter of Strovolos, and we see like an R square, which is like very disappointing for the. And what is the issue for those for this data set? Most probably some newer buildings, some buildings that were refurbished. Probably there is a linear park, and properties that are around the linear park are normally they do have like much higher prices, while in Agios Andreas, which is like a very old neighborhood, saturated from older buildings, there are no difference on age, we can see that the R square is much better in Agios Andreas. So these are like initial steps to identify the data, fill the areas, understanding my database and what is going on. And can empirical rules be more accurate? So we can create like in our brain doing the weighted average of all Strovolos sample is 1,300 euros per square meter, can describe if it is in the quarter of Agios Vasilios Strovolos, the value would be like that, or if it is in Agios Andreas quarter, the value would be double. No. Okay, so the mathematical and simple statistics like averages, weighted average, like linear regression, etc., are not accurate. Okay, in that case, the empirical rules are much more sufficient and accurate. So we need a different type of regression in order to be able. Okay, univariate regression. So in that case, we see like all observation, and with a univariate regression, better accuracy. Okay, and with a multivariate regression, adjusted accepted price versus the prediction price, the R square is 0.66. The mean average percentage error is marginal, like 20%. So the model that was used for this data process could be accepted. There is like the histogram of the normalized residuals that are used for the map and other metrics. Another very crucial like algorithm and very popular, and this is how I started my research. And as a land surveyor and being involved, coming from a surveying engineer background, I started with geographically weighted regression when I examine real estate data, GWR. GWR is like you can find it like in softwares like SRE software as part of the GIS. So in that case, I do have some parameters that I put into the SRE's software, and I combined like I compared ordinary least square method for Strovolos apartments with GWR, with geographically weighted regression. Okay. And again, like the how geographically weighted regression works is not AVM, is not AI, but it has like some issues of machine learning. It's similar. because we put on the GIS some points of interest that we believe as human beings that will affect the value of the property. These points of interest could be a school, could be nightclub, could be football stadiums, could be metro stations, subway stations, bus stations, supermarkets. So we include in the database all those points of interest, okay? And the GIS has the capability to produce additional parameters with distances and help us predict the correct value by adding additional geographic informations in the database. In those graphs, we can see like the results of the general valuation for property taxation of 2018. There is a new one, but I didn't include it in that part. So I compare the results of the general valuation 2018 versus the results predicted by GWR. Okay, so I created like the database, I did the test, and I compared the forecast, what the Department of Land and Surveys did versus the actual transactions, and what the GWR predicted versus the actual transactions. So the Department of Land and Survey accuracies with their own system that they used had a correlation of like almost 67%, while GWR had a correlation of 81%, so much better results. Higher order models. Okay, there are models that, let me check also the time. Okay, higher order models. While using the data and working with the data, we understand like could be like not just linear, could be like higher order, and could be linear or logarithmic. In that case, I need to take care of the generalization. So a linear model has R square of 0.6, while a third order polynomial model can have like R square of 0.67%. So it's much better with the same data set. But what the model did is working only for here. So if I do like an extrapolation, if I do an extrapolation of that equation, will go like that. So which means like the bigger the apartment is, the lower value you get. Okay, because if I extrapolate this database, so this equation works with that accuracy only for the specific range of apartments. So for 5 square meters to 200 square meters. So if someone buys an apartment of 400 square meters, the value could be like zero value, which is like a joke. Okay, so we need to be aware. Okay, so every model that we create describes a specific database, a specific data set. If for the same area I include additional data, additional transactions, then my equation can be completely wrong. Okay, so this equation was created and worked with that accuracy and described this data set. If I add some new data from the new year, this equation, the results of that, so there is not a unique equation. Nobody can create like an equation that perfectly describes apartments of Warsaw in Poland or in Nicosia, Cyprus. Okay, it needs a lot of work and everyday work. Every data entry must change the equation. Okay, and how this is happening, on one of my papers, I recommend that this can happen through sensitivity analysis. So random forests, XBoosts are very good algorithms and proven to work very good with real estate databases. But for every data entry must change. So for the specific data set, XBoost give better results. But if some 100 more data are included, then we need to use another approach. Okay. And this is the problem that I explained earlier. Yes. Okay. So higher order models. This is staying forever. Okay. It looks that this will be in every slide. Okay, it doesn't matter. So there are several methods that are used in mathematics and in methods like Taylor's method, so which is an approximation or analytic function or things like that. But in the case, if we start to think, let's work on that problem I'm mentioning here. Okay, the non-linear features that are statistically significant with p-value less than 5% and the R-squared to be maximized. If there are like 34 independent separate variables and their interactions up to degree 3 and a non-linear degree like 21 of order 21, okay, and if we keep this is 71 combination, and then the possible combinations is like 8.6 billion models that can describe this data set. And if each regression is 1 second, then we will need 273.16 years. Okay, so if one regression for those potential models, which is the optimum model. Okay, and this is called like the optimization problem. And through those optimization problems, we have like a higher order regression. There are some hidden equations. Okay, prediction accuracy for a model by working and playing and pushing numbers. I saw like even accuracy of 99.6%. Okay, and an inexperienced person on those things can be amazing that he discovered something, but of course this is a joke. This is an unrealistic database that cannot predict like human behavior in buying properties. Okay, and the residual linear regressions, I wanted to show you a video of, okay, because the time is not our friend. Okay, so you will have this presentation and you can come back to me with emails and everything if you want more details. The neural networks, how neural networks are working. Okay, and regarding programming, in that case, Julia was used. The environment is like that, and you see like the things that were excluded and how the model is working and running the regressions. I had to leave the PC open for like 2-3 years and running the regressions, producing results, and find the optimal equation. Okay, and the last part, like the discussion, where I think Malgosia we need to open and discuss all together everything who has like things to ask and add, and let's interact, because without seeing people like that, I'm not feeling very comfortable.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so by finishing and then accept the question, like there is a risk. Okay, the outcomes are unknown. Okay, but governed by probability distribution is the outset, and uncertainty. Even the best probability models that govern the outcomes are also unknown. And on the database that I used in Cyprus, I have some issues like architectural characteristics, like view, aesthetics, bioclimatic issues, construction quality, refurbishment. Some could be like obsolescence, things, materials, detailing, design. Who is appreciating design, sustainability, how sustainability can be included. Valuers biases. So I can buy an apartment because this is next to my mother-in-law, but I need her to take care of my minors, and I can pay a premium to get this apartment because it suits me and there are not other available. Okay, and this creates in the database a higher value because of my special interest. Other things, you can never be certain about uncertainty, a random needs of buyer or seller, economic bubbles, or bail-ins, haircuts, capital controls, governmental changes, changes in taxation. So we create a model that predicts and forecasts, but there is a change in the legislation and everything is changing. Urban planning changes. We cannot be certain about those issues. So which is the best method to analyze? Okay, to analyze the database. Profiling, we do profiling. It's very popular lately. A lot of research is happening in profiling. My suggestion, like sensitivity analysis. Okay, if the apartment is from 50 to 60 square meters at that age, this model describes better. If the property is from 60 to 75 and is in that area on those characteristics, you do this. So it's not one equation or one model that can describe a data set of 10,000 transactions like the one I had like to deal with in Cyprus. I also try to work with asking prices. Okay, asking prices from estate agents' databases. The description was not accurate. All the apartments were like very good investments, amazing opportunities. So couldn't work. How we see the future? How we see the future without the human bias is like the house plus the data, geographical data, transaction data, and we do have the predicted value. So also with error estimation, without the error estimation, this could jeopardize valuation. We need the initial estimation plus or minus error. We need to know the extreme distributions. More accurate model is better than empirical rules. Is the use of an AVM model, the use of statistics can validate our valuation. Because if I use 5 comparable evidence and I present my valuation to a client, now I'm speaking from a professional perspective, then it is fine. I used 5 comparable evidence. I use my knowledge, my experience. Okay, but this can be further validated with an AVM model. Okay, and of course we need to avoid the impact of the highly improbable, the black swans. What happened in the economy at the previous crisis. Now we're heading to the next one. And the ideal composition of an AVM team must be a surveying engineer, a GIS analyst who can gather, process, treat geographical data, GWR, distances, points of interest, effects. We need the programmer who is good in writing scripts and algorithms. And of course, statistician, okay, to show us, to to create who is specializing on statistics. And of course, the most important component is the property valuer to approve results. So someone who knows the market, someone who understands, because all those three guys, they might be amazing, but they cannot interpret and understand the results. They will accept the results that were provided by an AVM. So we need a valuer to validate if there are rational numbers. And of course, the valuer needs also to know the database, to approve the database and understand the database and approve the database before all those guys start to work on the database. So for all of you who are academics, we need to work towards that directions. Okay, so we produce surveying engineers, we produce property valuers, but the property valuers that the diplomas and the degrees are producing, they don't know GIS. They have no clue about programming. They have like very limited knowledge of statistics. Okay, so what they know about like the 5 methods or the 3 approaches, there's 5 methods or 7 methods in other books, is about to expire, because we produce data and the data will create very enriched databases, and with very simple ways we can we can identify those trends and the models can be created. Margosia, I'm very good with my time, you have to admit.
Yes, you are perfect, of course.
Okay, so
I can't say anything else, so.
yes, so I'm here to discuss. I know I bombed you with a lot of information. I'm here to discuss. At the presentation at the end, I have some bibliography. So I'm open to discussion if you have any questions regarding my experiences on the database here in Cyprus, or anything else you would like to ask.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Yeah, it was full of practice. Really appreciated that we can see this presentation, just to warm up us and increase the audience to take part in discussion. By the way, meanwhile, you can raise a hand to ask a question. I have a question, Thomas. You have your own probably program that include the AI, and how often in everyday life for your clients you use AI, and how they react if you mention that you use that kind of technology?
To be honest, I developed it, I checked it, and the last time I used it was like a year and a half ago for a client who wanted desktop valuation, and to be approved like 800 desktop valuations, that I wouldn't have access or visit the properties, and he wanted to be checked with the AVM model. So far, clients are not aware of those capabilities, and they are afraid of those capabilities.
Of course. So still we have some we are really not trust, right? Anything like that.
Yes. Especially like a statutory investor, a property investor, would rather get like a professional opinion of expert rather than get a statistical AI, which is statistics actually results for a model.
All right. So I would like to see if anyone have a question. I have one information. Yes, of course, you can send the question via email, via this chat, if you want. Of course, Peter, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, okay. Thomas, thank you very much for all the bombing of information. I've got one question. Maybe you can answer it. So when you have lots of different models, what would you say is the best qualifier metric to identify the best model, the final model? So when you have hundreds of models, and is it the MAPE or is it another one?
I think both. The mean average percentage error and the COD. IAAO, they mostly work with COD, the coefficient of dispersion.
Okay.
So both are describing different things. I'm feeling more comfortable mathematically. I can understand better the mean average percentage error.
Okay. So and the formula is in the presentation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
There are also some questions in the chat from Zeliko Rascic. Questions via email, Geodetic Authority of Republic of Srpska. It's hard for me. Yeah, it's Croatia, Srpska. And we have done mass valuation, we have done using multiple regression through yeah.
Okay.
Of course. If you click on the Google Scholar and ResearchGate, you will find everything. Like LinkedIn, if you put my name, there are not many Thomas Dimopoulos as I'm aware of.
Okay, but we have a question about how did you overcome the lack of a live connection with the actual transaction at the DRC?
Yes, Andrea Sergiu, yeah, he's Cypriot, so he's fully aware of the local market.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Andrea. How did you overcome the lack of live connection with the actual transaction of the DLS? Okay, it's not live, but let's say there is a lack of 2-3 days. So you just enter the DLS platform, the platform of the department, and you download the database. Okay, there are still problems because, okay, call me to discuss that personally.
Sure.
Okay?
I'll
Because
give you a call.
there is contract of sale and then is a transaction. So if I download today, I'm having different contract of sales and different transactions. So if I download the same period, let's say I'm downloading 1st of January 22 to 31st of December 22. Okay. If I download now, I getting different number of contracts of sale, and if I download the database after 6 months, different contracts of sale and different transactions. Because when the transaction is completed, they remove it, they delete it from the contract of sales. Okay, so yes, there is a problem indeed, but you can call me to discuss that if you are interested in.
Sure.
Previous interviews you have mentioned for proposed values, lifetime value of the property, etc. No, this is like part. This is part of the IVS, not like long-term sustainable value. Okay, so market value, as the definition is from RICS standards, Tegova, IVS, with market value describes the value of the property at the date of the valuation. Okay, and because of the fluctuation, the properties are going up, are going down. Okay, there is a lot of work is being done. And IVS is working towards that, RICS is working towards that, Tegova, because this is asked from the European Central Bank. They want the long-term sustainable value. So yes, now the value of the property is 1 million, but the valuer has to predict what the value would be during the next 20 years, the minimum amount that you will get. And it will be like compulsory to use such sophisticated models, econometrical models, but still we cannot predict the unpredictable. It's really hard. Okay, and it is really hard. Are you okay, Andreas?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a call.
Call me and we can go for CISA and discuss.
Yeah, of course.
He's just next by the room, right? Next to you, you see.
Zeliko. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you. Other questions?
Yeah, do you have any other question, any comments? I would like to remind, if you would like to obtain this record from this session, please write on the chat your email and your request. I can't see anything more, and anything anyone that would like to ask. So everything was clear. I think it was a lot of information, so I think we should protest. And right, so we keep in time. It's 1 hour. Really great. So it probably wraps up the sessions. Thank you very much for to be here, for your active participation, and for Thomas especially, that you took effort to prepare such wonderful presentation. And I would like to remind that we will meet in Cyprus in some of months, since 22nd to 23 of May. Welcome to Cyprus, Paphos, right, Thomas? You welcome us?
Yes, of course. Last year it was really fast, but it was really successful. Now I have more time to prepare, and I believe that it will be even better this year.
It was spontaneous, yeah, but still it was really great. Yes, so, and just wait for our notification about the next online seminar. It will be November. I have idea almost what should be next to, have a sequence. Like first it was RAS, really great presentation last time, some kind of introduction. Now was some practical issues and problems, and now is the time for something else. So we will let you know. Thank you very much again. And maybe Peter would like to say something.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Magosha and Thomas and Arthur. You're really great colleagues, and thank you to all of you, and to be with us, and to improve this idea of engage more in automatic variation modeling. I think this will become our future, maybe not ours, but the future of the younger guys. So I'm very sure that we should control what is going on and should not leave these issues about AVMs to other people who are doing something wrong or doing something. So this is our idea. We have to understand what's going behind the scenes, and that's what we're doing is really good. So thank you very much. Have a nice time, and see you at our next 60-minute meeting in November, and then we meet in Cyprus. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice evening.
Bye. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
No contact.